Next, we'll have head coach Mike MacIntyre. Coach, if you want to start with an opening statement, and then we'll open it up to questions.
Yeah, we've had a good bye week, and we're excited about the game on Friday night. Watching UCLA on film, they've played a really tough schedule. Cincinnati's 4-0. Oklahoma's a pretty good football team, to say the least. And then, Fresno State's a really good football team. And so they've had they've played a tougher schedule than we have at this point. And so, they're the most athletic football team. I've said that 3 or 4 times that we've played so far this season. They've got speed, athleticism, and it's going to be a really tough test for us. But we've prepared well, and our guys are excited about playing at home again on Friday night. So I'll take any questions at this time.
Mike?
Yes.
Harry Scott was discussing the criticism that the conference is getting about the late starts on Thursdays and Fridays. How do they affect you, and do you like to see them continue, or?
Right. The criticism on the I don't know. I haven't seen anything. I don't read anything but I know there's been some late night that's been talked about since I ever came in the league. The late night, the Friday night late night game. If you don't have a game then the week before that's at night, it's really not that big a deal because you come back and you got Saturday and Sunday to recover. The hard ones are when you play 8:30 at night, like we've played it on the West Coast, and we get back. We literally get off the bus at this facility between 5:30 and 6:30 in the morning. And then you turn around and play the next Saturday. If you're playing an away game, it's really tough. That's where I think the problem. And we've talked about that as coaches and with Larry and with Woody and all those guys, and they've really been more accommodating. They've understood it. A lot of it is all television driven, so they're kind of handicapped, and we need the television money. Our league does, so we all understand that. But they've done a really good job the last couple of years of trying to facilitate teams. Like we're playing on a Friday night, but we had a bye week off, and the next week we play at home, and we had a late night game. So they've worked with a lot of teams in that way. And, we don't know about the late night games until 12 days or sometimes 6 days before. The ones that they were able to place and go ahead and do they've done a really good job of organizing that, I think, this year more than they have in the past. And I think that Larry and Woody and all those guys are really working well with the teams and truly understand that. But we also understand we're going to have to play some night games on prime time, which honestly, if you're winning games and you're playing at night, you're kind of pumped about it. You'd rather play at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, of course. I think everybody in America would, but then it would be back to like it was when I was in college. There's one game on, and so this enables all of us to make money. So I kind of gave you a long answer, but I do think that our Pac-12 office is really working with us and the teams, trying to facilitate it the best we can to make it the best for our players and our teams. But we also have to make the money, and our kids like playing on national television.
Have you seen an effect with students in their classes?
No, not really, because at our level, we take our tutors with us. They're able to proctor exams. We have study hall when we're on the road. So if we play a night game, our guys actually are having study hall on Saturday mornings or Friday evenings. So with the ability that we have to have all our tutors and different people, like Katie Bason's unbelievable. She'll proctor exams. That helps. If we didn't have that, yes, that would be tougher. But all the teams, I believe, have something like that. I know we do. And so that facilitates that a little bit better to be not as intrusive on their academics.
How do you think the rotation at outside linebacker with Collier, Carson Wells, and Drew Lewis has worked out so far?
So far, I think it's worked out well. We've got a lot of speed on the field. We've got guys rotating in. What I've noticed, if they've been fresher as the games have gone on, and our pass rush has looked – haven't always got to the passer, but we've harassed them. We've gotten there. We're more fresh. We're more athletic. And I hope as the season goes along, I believe that will carry out dividends and will help us in some situations where we got to get some pass rush without being able to have to blitz. And I think having those athletic guys out there and rotating them in keeps them fresher and enables them to be at a higher tempo and a higher speed late in the game.
Mike, do you expect defenses to start basically spying Laviska Chenault wherever he lines because you guys play him at so many positions?
I think they'll try to find him, but Chev has done a phenomenal job of moving him all around, and that's hard to do. And the great thing about it is Visca is, understands football and is very bright, and he can be able to move around different spots. And then also when you do that, our other players on offense at the receiver spots have to know other places to play. Chev does a great job of teaching all those guys. And even if they do that, then our quarterback knows of what's happening, where we're going. All our throws are on reads anyway. So we're moving them around. You know, there's certain situations we're trying to get guys balls in certain different ways. But we also, when we move him around, he can be definitely a decoy, which opens up another guy. So our quarterback completely understands that, and Chev's done a great job of utilizing that with him.
Coach, what challenges are presented to your defense just with having to prep for two potential quarterbacks that you might face on Friday? And how has the defense as a whole been just observing film and practice and just in anticipation of that?
Yeah, every time you say prepare for two quarterbacks, I kind of have I break out in a cold sweat from the Arizona game a year ago. We prepare for that. There's certain things that I think Chip, he's really an excellent football coach. He's going to run his offense, and then whichever guy's in there, we'll kind of get a feel to if one guy is more of a, they're throwing the ball downfield, or they're doing more drop back, or they're doing more sprint out. You just kind of get a feel for that. But from the little bit I saw their quarterback play in the first game against Cincinnati, it was basically the same offense. And so I think that it'll be similar. It's hard to prepare two offenses or two total. They'll pick certain plays that the guy's better at and they'll do more of, but that's usually hard to find out in one game. You kind of get it as the quarters go along, hopefully. But hopefully your defense is able to adjust to different things, and we teach them that. They understand that. Every defense is supposed to work against everything, just like every offensive play is supposed to work against every defense. So, but we'll be ready for either one, and hopefully we can adjust.
Mike, fair to say that Chev has been a contributing factor to the success of this offense so far this season. How much is that for you also a double-edged sword where you like the success? Also, with the trajectory he's on, you're going to want to keep him. And he's a rising star, it seems like.
Oh, I think all our guys are rising stars. I really do. We have some great coaches on our staff, and our offensive staff works really well together. I think a big part of our success has been Clayton Adams, being able to handle all the different things we do offensively. The offensive line, that puts a lot of stress on them. And he and Chev and him work really well together. And then, Coach Hagan with the running backs, all the things we're doing there, because, sometimes Laviska's in the backfield and other guys are in the backfield, so that also goes on Coach Hagan. And then Coach Bernardi with our multiple tight ends, because a lot of times Chenault's playing a tight end spot. So it's a combination of all of them. Of course, Kurt Roper getting our quarterbacks to understand all of it and do it all. I think that's quite a great mix of magic there. Usually when you have staff, sometimes there's egos. Everybody's dropped their ego and worked really well together. So I think that's extremely important on how they're doing on that.
At inside backer, I know you guys rotated Nate Lamon out a little bit in the last game, but he and Rick are playing a lot of snaps. Do you expect to get Akil Jones back at some point? And if so, what could he kind of add to the
Yeah, Akil Jones hurt his ankle. He's practiced really well the last 2 days. We expect Akil to be ready Friday, unless we have a setback, which we've had before happen. But so far, Akil would be a guy that we would do there. Yeah, Nate and Rick have done really well in our what we call our base front or buff front. And then when we go to our nickel front, Nate's out, and we've got we just move Drew inside to Jack. So that's worked out real well, and I think that's given him a little bit of rest. Nate can also play Mike. So you could see that happen from time to time if Rick got tired or that type of thing. And then, of course, you got Akil Jones and Jonathan Van Diest, who are getting more and more practice time coming on. Jonathan got a lot more reps in practice with Akil being out, so that's helped Jonathan come on too.
What is the biggest difference when you watch them on film between Dorian and Wilton that sticks out to you?
Wilt, you can just tell Wilt has, played a lot of football, dropped back in the pocket, and probably just a little more understanding of coverages and everything right now. Dorian is a phenomenal athlete that has made some really good throws, and I think is getting better. I've watched him. I thought he played really well in times in the Oklahoma game as he started kind of getting his feet wet a little bit. And I think he's an excellent athlete. I think they both can run their offense, and I think it's just whichever one they decide to choose or how who's healthy, that type of thing. It seems like they'll probably sprint out a little bit more with Dorian. He's a little bit shorter to get him out of the pocket to see a little bit better at times, but they're both really good players and they can do everything they want in their offense.
Coach, when you look at UCLA during your time here, it's a program that's generally had CU's number except for a couple years ago here, the last time here, and you've had a couple wild games against them during that time as well. When you talk about developing a rivalry within a league, are they perchance a team that, especially for your older guys, maybe riles the emotions a little bit more or feel like you owe them a little something?
Yeah, they have got our number. We've had some unbelievable games out here. I remember the double overtime game out here when the student body was moving from end to end and had our opportunities to win it, and we didn't. And then the game we had down there with them and the Heat down there, and we ran the most plays in regulation any team ran all year. We ran 114 plays in regular 60 minutes. And, screwed it up and lost that game. And then we had the game here on a night game on a Friday night. That was a great game, and Isaiah took the punt back and kind of sealed the deal. And then last year's game was back and forth, and we had the go-ahead touchdown that got called back. And so our guys know that it's going to be, I think the separation in the games, the last games, if you put 4 or 5 together, I think it's like a 5-point difference in all the games. And so it's going to be a heck of a battle. And they've always had good athletes, and they have a great history of football, and so do we. So our guys are looking forward to playing. Our guys know each other off those teams. A lot of our kids from California. There's actually 2 brothers playing in this game, Diamond Lee and Donovan Lee. Diamond plays for them. Donovan plays for us. So they kind of know each other well.
Everyone's kind of focused on the 2 quarterback situation that UCLA has and how you have to prepare for them. But their defense has struggled so far this year, giving up over 37 points a game. What have you seen on film from them?
Well, number one, they've played 3 really good offenses. Cincinnati's putting up points in every game. Of course, Oklahoma is putting up points in every game. And Fresno State, they did really well last year, and they're excellent offense when you watch them on film. And so I think that's part of it. The second part, you have they're all new. The whole staff's new. Defense is new. They've changed their defense from the year before. They were more of a 4-down front. Now they're more of a 3-down front. So that takes a while to adjust to. So they've played 3 games. They've had a bye week. I expect them to be much better on defense because now they can go back. The kids can see what they've made mistakes on. They can go over it. They can work with it. And so hopefully we've improved in that amount of time too. But their outside pass rushers are really, really athletic. Number 15, I think he was the number 4 ranked player in all of America coming out of high school. As a freshman, he was phenomenal. He's a really good player. And so the other 2 guys, number 11 and 97, they kind of all look like identical guys. They're all like 6'4 and a half. They all can run like the wind. So I expect them to play well, and we're going to have to play really well on offense.
Schedules made so far in advance, it's tough to know what a team's going to be like when the year's coming up. What's it been like for you to see the teams you've beaten not continue to have any success?
Mm-hmm. I think that is the beginning of the season. It's still so early in the season. Anything can change, and I think that sometimes you have injuries throughout a season that bother teams, and go from there. I think we've just played 3 games. The season is really early. Hopefully we can keep our momentum going. And I think some of the teams that we've played, they'll click in and get going. That's just kind of the way it is. You got to fight through different peaks and valleys as the season goes along. You know, I think the NFL is a good example of that. A lot of teams start out and everybody's like worried about them, and then all of a sudden at the end of the year, the teams they were all talking about at the beginning of the year, they're not even in the playoffs. And I think you just got to keep playing.
Coach, how is this incarnation of Chip Kelly different than the incarnation at Oregon?
I have no idea. I wasn't around when he went to Oregon or coaching against them. Their scheme is good, offensively, defensively. He knows what he's doing, and it just takes a while sometimes. You know, when the only thing I will say is when he took over at Oregon, he had been running the offense, right? And their defensive coordinator, Coach Alali, had stayed there. So I mean, it really wasn't. There wasn't a change. He just switched the head coach, and they went off running. When you come in and you're changing everything, and nobody knows you, it's a whole different world. And it takes a while. And I know Chip will get it turned around. I just hope it's not Friday night.
Okay, got time for last question for Coach. Brian, go ahead.
Just want to ask you about Alex Kinney. It's been a couple weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
Are you more optimistic, less optimistic that he'll be able to return at some point this season? How's he?
Yeah, I met with the doctors on him this morning. We did. Everything is progressing really well. He's moving his arms around and doing everything. We've just got to make sure he's okay and cleared to go out. So he is, you know, he's actually catching footballs, you know, as a snap, but he's got to be able to catch it everywhere and do everything and be able to do that. So we're just gonna keep meeting with the doctors and see how it goes, and we'll sit down each week at the beginning of the week, at the end of the week, and see how we are. But he's recovering well and doing well, and he has a positive attitude. He's out there coaching up Davis, and he's in the meetings, and he's out at practice, and so I've been really pleased with Alex, and of course we'd love to have him back as soon as he's healthy enough to get back.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you. I got one other thing. This Friday night we're doing, you know, our team does Be the Match for you know, to battle cancer, for bone marrow transplant. And so this Friday night at the game, it's the Be the Match night. And so 4,000 of the students, when they come in, are going to get Be the Match T-shirts to register for it. And then we have the big drive in April. They're also going to a lot of the Be the Match people. Coach Talley, who was the head coach at Villanova, who started this whole Be the Match movement with the colleges, is going to be here, and their whole organization. You know, we've had 9 people match here, and the nine people match in the 9 years that I've done it, which is pretty awesome. And you know, Derek McCartney is a young man that y'all know about that actually saved a life, and we've had some others too. But that's one off our team, and so we're excited about being able to help any way we can get the word out to get more people to register, so you can save more lives. So this Be the Match on Friday night is a big part of our game too. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it.